What's going on?
Hey, Chris, what's going on?
Hey, buddy. How you doing, Adam?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. It's a lovely day here in New York City, and yeah, I'm a little tired.
I got, uh, I got, I think I've been late to something in a long time. I'm late to this. I'm frazzled by it, buddy. Like,
Well,
I think I have the distinction of being the most punctual man in rock and roll, which is not a flashy title, but I'll take it. And I had computer woes. Couldn't get in.
I didn't even know that was you. You hear about the most punctual man in rock and roll, but I didn't even know that it was you this year. It's of course, someone different every year. As
Yeah, I've won. I'm a
Yeah,
multiple year award winner for that.
that's great to know. That's great to know. I have lost a lot of awards in my life. It's like, but in any case, we're going on tour this summer.
I know.
We're
Everybody
both,
knows.
yeah. No, it's I should tell
I've
people how
told
we.
everybody I'm so excited.
I have told all my friends they're very excited. I have this one friend, Jeff, whose favorite song in the world is "So Long, So Long." It's a little bit of an obsessive thing with him, and so he's got all these questions and plans about if it's going to be played and would it be helpful if he sang on it.
But would it?
I've I've informed him yes and no, in that yes it
Yes
will
and
be
no.
played, and no it would not be helpful if he sang on it.
We get a lot of singers on this tour.
Yeah, I think we'll be fine without the peanut gallery. Unless that's a really good peanut
Always,
who can really sing.
yeah, I'm always good. I'm always in for a fun experiment, though.
No. If Maria Taylor shows up, I say we try something. If my friend Jeff shows up,
We
we say, hey Jeff, and leave
okay.
it at
That's the
that.
metric.
Yeah.
I'm in with that metric. It makes sense to me.
He's a
So,
wonderful guy. I don't know about his singing though. Yeah.
well, one way to find out.
Yeah.
So,
No.
how much have you been like over? No. One way to not find out. The one sure way to not find out. So,
Yeah.
Adam, are you like inundated with press now, pre-tour right now?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's good though. I mean, I'm just doing it every day. Definitely 3 or 4 days in a row here right now. I don't
Yeah,
know what day of the week is today.
I Wednesday, I think it's
Been
Wednesday.
only been three
So
days in a row.
we were meant to do this last week, I think, or was it the week before? I got so sick, buddy, you'd not believe it.
What happened?
Um, I got a cold, like a regular old cold, not COVID, not the flu, not the strep, just a cold. And man, it laid me up for like 2 weeks. So I'm playing catch up big time here. I'm trying to like do rehearsal for songs, like pre-rehearsal. I'd like to refresh on a bunch of songs before the band gets together, and I'm trying to get all the pre-tour stuff done, personally that I can, and then I also got a lot of press to do too. So I feel like I'm scrambling here, but it feels good to be busy, right?
It is kind of nice. I'm always happy when we get press because you know nothing sucks more than getting out on tour and having nobody know you're playing, coming through towns, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know you guys were here." I hate when my friends tell me they didn't know I was
Yeah,
coming. It just
I hate
so
that
yeah,
too.
stuff's all really good. Yeah, I need to get.
So
What were you gonna say?
I'm sitting here thinking about those all the shows we played together, and this is the first time we've toured together, our two bands. Like my side project band, Twin Fort's been lucky enough to tour with you a lot, and but our first show, we met because of a show. Do you remember that?
At the bridge concert. Not
Yeah,
that
at
one.
the Bridge School event. Yeah, it was in San Francisco. It was an incredible lineup. It was a memory
Yeah.
that
It's,
blows my mind when I think about who was there.
yeah, it's Neil Young's benefit concert for the Bridge School, and we were both playing, and everyone plays acoustic. Um, and we were
Yeah,
both playing, and Wilco and Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, Incubus, This is where I run out every time trying to remember this.
Okay, I got the rest. So I know Good Charlotte was on there, and Indigo Girls.
Right.
Do you say Pearl Jam?
Pearl Jam, that's right. Yeah.
And Willie Nelson was on there.
Yeah, it was a really cool day. I mean, I got to go hang out and sing with Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. We all did. That was really cool. David Crosby called me over to come up and sing with him.
And Graham Nash did the same for me, and I was like, "Is this real life? It's wild, you know." And he's like smiling and hyping me up at the microphone. I'm thinking to myself, God, this can't be real.
I know it was weird because everyone else was behind us at a big group mic for like all the other people, and we were up on the mics with like the four of them. And what I realized at that point was like I love David Crosby, and he was so cool all day talking to him. And when he waved me to come up and sing on his mic, I was really excited to go up. We're all singing Teach Your Children Well. And then what I realized when I got up there is, oh yeah, David Crosby sings the really hard harmony, the one in the middle that like it's not the low melody and it's not Graham Nash's high harmony that we're all used to. It's the fucking, the middle, the weird, the middle, the peanut butter in the middle of the bread. And like, I was like, this is a really hard part. I don't know this part. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really panicked there for a minute. I had to fake it and then find his voice where he was and oh.
But you weren't at the thing the night before at Neil Young's house up in the mountain, right?
No, Dan went over to his house, but I didn't go because I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish you'd gone. That was one of my favorite memories. It was just all those people, and it was like all our bands, and then all the crew guys from the bands were invited too. And it was just a remarkable collection of people to be around and have conversations with. And I remember I was watching Crosby fight with somebody about a chess game. It was fun.
Man, that sounds like a great experience. Every time someone talks to me about that night, I hate myself a little more for missing that. Dan was just raving about the incredible time he had, and I stupidly didn't go.
I have to admit to you though that was with all that star power there, all those like important figures and luminaries. I was never totally starstruck, and I might have been when you walked in, buddy. But maybe that was my saving grace, is that I kept my cool. I didn't like lose it. Like, oh man, that's Adam. And we got to chat the next day like normal people. Because I think because I already knew Eddie better, and he kind of got me through the night there. Like, come talk to this person, come to that. Invited me. It was the guy that was waving me over and waving me in. I felt
that's really nice of him. That's cool to do that.
Well, he's a good guy, right? In that way.
Yeah.
A natural master of ceremonies, maybe.
It's very thoughtful, though. Not everybody makes that kind of effort. It's really, especially in a night like that with that kind of group of people around, all those musicians. It could be like the most incredible night, or you could kind of miss out on everything. And instead, he like took you around. It's very kind of him.
Yeah, especially that's true. In that period of my life too, more than ever, I was a real wallflower. So I probably would have shrunk into the corner and been happy to be there and just marveling at everything. But that was the beginning. That weekend was the beginning of a long relationship between our two bands. I'm really grateful for in our friendship, of course.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I think the thing that really made us good friends was when you asked me to sing on So Long, So Long, and we talked about this another time, but spending time in the studio with someone is a really good way to it really does bond you because you make something together, and it's also like the center of our lives. It's the most important thing to both of us in our lives outside of family. It's this incredible experience, and you get to keep it forever because the stuff lasts forever. Like So Long is going to be there forever, and we always have that.
And when you collaborate on something like that, you are the bond is really about trust in a way that is,
Yeah.
it's a lasting thing, and you figure out real quick like that you can trust somebody all the way, like because you are handing over your most valuable thing, the thing that's you're most precious about, um,
Yeah.
to have them trust in them to carry it with you.
I was
So
really
yeah, I'm
nervous
glad for
about
that.
that.
You were nervous about which part?
That session, because the demo for so long was so good, and it had all these cool parts on it that you'd already laid down, which I think you were laying down to try and give me some things to sing. But at the time, I was just like, boy, this has no need for me, and I was really very intimidated by that. But it turned out, we also came up with some new stuff, and we found things, and like, yeah, it just, I love the song so much, and I feel like a part of it. I feel like I really contributed.
Man, I have to go listen to that original demo because I don't hear it that way. I heard it as taking shape once you got there, like really, really becoming the song it needed to be. I guess I remember having some of the call and response bits in there, only because you told me that before. You told me that I had the do parts, kind of like
Yeah, ba-da-da,
hanging out
ba-da-da,
in
that was
there.
all there. But we did come up with all that stuff in the verses that I put in, and then I ended up singing the lead in the bridge. Although you were already on the bridge, and it didn't really need me singing the lead, but it still worked out great. It's such a cool song now, though. It's something like, whenever you do something like that, even you don't see someone for years, but there's still this thing you did together. I mean, we see each other,
Yeah.
but like I thought about it a lot when Nancy Griffith passed away a few years ago, because I did Going Back to Georgia with her, which is one of my favorite things I've ever done, and I get to write verses for it, and we sang it together. And when I hadn't seen Nancy in a long time when she passed away, but I went and sat down and listened to that song and remembered hanging out with her in Nashville. I was on like our first year of touring, and I was a huge fan, and I had like a one day off or something between shows, and I actually flew in on like early flight, did this thing with Nancy Griffith, flew back out to the next show. It was really hard to squeeze it in. Maybe I had 2 days off, but I had this memory of this thing we shared that now is there forever. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's a living memory of some kind.
Yeah. We've talked this in other interviews, but we actually, it's been a big part. Our friendship has been a big help for me in recent years too, because I sort of, when you have a peer group when you start out, and when you're aspirational as an artist, and you're in the clubs and you have this peer group, but you kind of lose that when you get going on your career. You're in a different place than a lot of those people were after that, and if you're not hanging out at the MTV Awards, you don't necessarily have that group of friends anymore. But in the last while, me, you, Sean Barna, Dave Leo Pepe from Gang of Youths, we've all been a big part of each other's lives, and as we're songwriting, we just got lucky that we were all writing albums at the same time, and we were all sending stuff to each other, and getting to hear people's demos when they were working, and getting responses on my demos as I was working, and I found that was a really big part of my career recently, was having that feedback, and that the friendship, and just people to bounce stuff off of where we are in our lives right now.
It was a great group of people trusting each other, like you said, Dave and Sean, and also Maria Taylor.
Maria Taylor as well, yeah.
Trusting each other with these vulnerable ideas that you don't even, you're afraid. I was afraid to share these songs with anybody at all. The fear I had was not placed in, are they good, are they bad? It's something altogether indefinable. But I think what I came to later was like, is there something new to say yet? There's always something new to say, but is it here yet? Am I too soon? And I think the sharing of it all really spurred me into just kind of believing that, like, yeah, I'm saying it. This is it. It's here. It is right now. It's happening right now. Let's go.
Yeah, I think it really helped me that way too. It's funny that like there was one weekend where we were all here at the same time. You were up visiting, and so was Dave, and Maria Taylor was here, and I was recording on her record, and we're doing that right here in the living room of my house, and we were all hanging out, and we made that band. The band name we made a what was it called? It was based on Phoebe Bridgers' band. It was like a joke on that of the Better Oblivion Breakfast Club, but it was something Bolivian something. I don't know. We made it. We actually made an Instagram for it, and then I forgot to ever put any other pictures.
Now make some songs.
Yeah, we should get around to doing that at some point.
Yeah,
because we have an Instagram. As long as we've got social media, we might as well have careers.
Yeah, we're official.
Yeah. What was the name of that band?
I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Bolivian something.
It was something Bolivian.
Better Bolivian?
Better Bolivian. I don't remember. Yeah, well, it's somewhere on social media. Somebody find it and tell us. Get back to us, and then we'll have a career with it. Yeah. It's somewhere.
That's how bands work, right? If you get some followers, you start playing music.
Yeah. You just got to get a name, and then a social media account, and the next thing you know, you got a band.
Followers, and then then you find songs, I guess.
Firing Squad.
Oh, Better Bolivian Firing Squad.
It's on Instagram.
Apparently that's the name. He just found it. There's like 2 pictures.
2 posts, 88 followers.
Oh, we have 2 posts and we have 88 followers apparently.
88 followers.
Yeah, we could have huge. I can't believe.
Possibly have 88 people that know.
I don't know. That must have happened right away at the beginning and then never again. I don't know. I'm impressed that we have 88 people who are still sticking with us there, though. That's great.
Yeah, lifers.
Yeah, it's good to have fans like that. It's probably just all of us. What were we going to say?
The combination. I was going to say, speaking of fans, I'm just excited to be out playing with you guys and playing in front of fans. Everybody knows I'm a huge fan of yours and of Counting Crows. And I go to your shows all the time. And I'm out there with that audience singing along to you. And it's just like one of my favorite things in the world. And I get to do that every night for months now. So,
I know. Look, I've been trying to get this tour together for a good 20 years now. Like, I've been trying, ever since Mark and Mission, I've been trying to get us on tour together. And like early on, promoters weren't into it. They said the audiences were too different.
yeah.
And it's just...
They were wrong, by the way.
Yeah, they were. They were wrong. But I'm so satisfied to have finally pulled, that we finally pulled this off. We can, go spend the summer hanging out, watching each other play, which is... Yeah, I mean, what more do you want? I get free Dashboard Confessional tickets all summer long.
I get free Gross tickets. I get a discount.
Oh, yeah, well, it's only fair. I'll get you a T-shirt.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
I still think we should make those CCDC T-shirts.
Yeah, we should.
We tried at one point, I should tell you, we wanted at one point to call the tour CCDC, and we had this ACDC logo that said CCDC, and I brought it up, and my manager loved it, and our lawyer said, no, this is pretty much this is the exact case of what copyright infringement is. No, you've laid it out. I'm like, no, it's not. It's just it's funny. They have this great piece of art, and CCDC. I just think it would be great. And he's like, yeah, that's exactly why it's copyright infringement, because you love the AC/DC logo, and you'd like to sell tickets based on the AC/DC logo. I go, and T-shirts. He says, and T-shirts. You're laying out the case for them, which is very convenient if you're them, and not so much if it's you. And I was like, okay, so we can't call the tour that.
Right. It's good advice to get.
Yeah, uh, I'll put out there that coming up with names for tours is hard unless you've got a reason or a record that says what your tour should be. It's difficult.
Right. Do you like it in general? Do you generally name your tours?
I didn't think it was important at all. I was informed on this tour that it was really important, and I'm like, do we ever name our tours? And my manager said, yeah, the last tour. He said it was the But a Miracle tour.
A new thing. It seems like it's a thing of the moment.
I think it is. I never thought it was important, and I was informed we really needed a name. And then I remember you and I were talking about it, and neither of us had any really ideas. And I was told we really had to have it right away. And then I watched the Banshees of Inisherin, the movie, and I said Banshee season, and they said great, and you said okay. And no, maybe I said Banshee summer, and you said Banshee season. And the next thing I knew, we had a tour name based on literally nothing. But I do think it's a great name.
We have to make it mean something. We have to imbue it with meaning now over the summer.
Yeah, we will have to imbue it with meaning.
So, like, what does that mean to you, Banshee season, do you think? Maybe we have to find out.
Yeah. We'll have to do that. I mean, I don't care. I get to spend it with you. I'm happy enough about that, but yeah, I didn't.
Let me ask you. I have a question about this tour. I guess I have a question that's more about touring in general. Do you have a complicated relationship with any eras of your music?
In what way?
So I do. I have a complicated relationship with one or two of my records where I felt like I kind of got pushed into a sort of direction or told literally what to say or literally what not to say in a couple cases, and maybe it was trying a little too hard to learn from. It wasn't that I was trying to follow direction or play the game or anything like that, but I was really in a learning season of my life, okay, maybe these are better choices for these songs, but ultimately decided they were less honest. And this isn't over whole records, but there's moments on a couple of my records in a row. And I have a tougher time going back to that era because of those one or two instances. And I'm wondering if there's a way in.
Huh. What records are those? Or would you rather not say?
Well, Alter the Ending is one that stands out to me, where there was a chorus, for example. I'll tell you, there's a chorus in the song Alter the Ending that was, I think, provocative in some nature, not explicit, just thought-provoking, and even contained the line Alter the Ending, which is the name of the record. But the pushback on it was that it was too self-focused, self-examination, and it was a chorus, and it should be this universal thing. And it got in my ear, and I thought, okay, let me really try for that. And instead, it's just I don't know, I'd rather not play it, is where I ended up. But if the song was something that I think had teeth at one point.
Well, I guess I can see that, but I love that record. For me, I couldn't stop playing Everybody Learns from Disaster. That's the name of that song, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that record. It was really one that was... I have these really vivid memories of walking around New York with headphones on and being on the subway and listening to that record over and over again. And
well,
I know what you're saying, but
you never encountered that in your own music, where the thing just ages differently than you expect, and how do you go back to it?
Well, I have to admit I didn't expect that.
Because I don't just to
go on.
The song in question that you mentioned, is one I would be more drawn to. It still resonates with me, but I've stopped playing it because the whole thing makes me just feel like I felt in reaction to feeling like a few pieces that were important got taken off. But anyway, you were saying.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. There's things like that I got. It's a problem when we get talked into things. that we don't want. Like, you know, and this is a minor one, but I wrote that song, Richard Manuel is Dead. And my manager at the time was really adamant that this is a hit, but you can't call a song Richard Manuel is Dead. No one will listen to that song. No one will play that song. You have to call it, what's the name? What are the, if I could, what's the, what are the, if I could give all my love. And I was like, but that's not what the song's about. The guy's saying, if I could do this, but I can't. So calling it If I Could Give All My Love is sort of like the opposite of the meaning of the song. And I eventually called the song If I Could Give All My Love or Richard Manuel is Dead, which is stupid. And whenever I think about that, I get really frustrated and angry at the stupidity of what I did, of compromising what I wanted to do for somebody else. But then most of the time, I just play Richard Manuel is Dead and don't think about it and just love Richard Manuel is Dead because I really do love the song.
Okay, so I just maybe I just need some reps on some of those songs and just bring them back into the fold.
Yeah,
but you know, your songs evolve. Yours do, especially.
Yeah, they change all the time
over time. And
they
I feel
do.
like I put those ones up on a shelf, and so they haven't had a chance to evolve at all.
Maybe they just need you. I mean, I would think that in some ways, like everybody learns from Disaster in particular. I hear echoes of that in Bobby and the Rat Kings, you know, just in those big power chords. Dun, dun, dun. You know, that's really like, I don't know if I was thinking about that, but they're very similar now that I listen to it. Now that I think about it right now, there's a lot of similarity in that big riff for Everybody Learns from Disaster. Then it's a lot of similarity with Bobby and the Rat Kings, you know. I also think I was probably thinking of some Who stuff too, but like,
yeah,
there's a lot of pleasure in power chords. There's a lot of pleasure to be derived from power chords, and like, there's songs on that album that are just fucking driving, that have great melodies, you know. Sometimes our things just don't go as well as we want them to, and then it's like hard because we've put everything into an album and we love it and it's very important to us, and someone's just, I'd rather listen to August and Everything After. You know, can you just play these songs again? You know, I love August and Everything After, but I do wish people had heard This Desert Life, or, you know, Saturday Nights and Sunday Mornings, or, you know, anything. I wish that playing Palisades Park was a huge moment for our audience. Was like, oh, I've been dying to hear this epic song because I put so much into it, as opposed to like something we get away with playing sometimes. Or the Butter Miracle Suite, you know, that I'm so proud of that I did this. And, you know, I do think people enjoy it, but I wish it had become a huge thing. I wish they were all out there when the Bobby and the Rat Kings chords come in after the end of Angels at 14th Street. I wish they were all out there air guitaring it, you know, like, and there's a disappointment in that because not all of our albums can be the cultural touchstones that some of our albums are. I mean, the miraculous thing is that we're still here at all, because most careers last about 4 years and then they're done. And that's not true for us. But with that, I guess, comes this feeling sometimes that, you know, this thing that's very important to me isn't as important to the audience, which sucks.
Yeah, it's inverse now. Like it used to be, or at one point in your career, like you have a big song or a couple big songs, and they're the invitation for somebody to come in and listen to the rest of your music, and ultimately the invitation to come to see you live.
Yeah.
But now it's getting those people there. They're there, they exist. There's new people too, but they're coming to see you. And now that's the invitation to hear the new music you're excited about to share with them. And so it takes a while because they may get that, develop that relationship you're speaking of with Bobby and the Rat Kings, or any of the new stuff, you know, of any era. But you're not going to know it until next time, or a couple next times from now.
Yeah, we just don't get to be at the center of culture forever. You know, it just doesn't.
Well, you got to be there for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, we're both still here. Like, sorry, go on.
You don't get to be at the center of culture forever, and I guess I'd argue that you shouldn't. You shouldn't be, because at that point, why are you there? Like, why are you there? Like, what is it that you're saying that it's new? I don't know. I mean, I would love to have those kinds of careers that are rarefied air, where everything you do is received with as much attention as you wish it would deserve. But the fact that we get to do it at all, I guess, is this remarkable thing. But wasn't it in the beginning too? The fact that we got to do it was the big coup.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, because look, almost nobody gets signed, and almost nobody that gets signed puts out a record that's successful, and almost nobody that has a successful record has a second one or has people stay around for long after that. And man, nobody lasts for decades. It's such a small number that it might as well be imaginary. You know, I remember the first year we were on tour, we were opening for the Stones. And the first gig with the Stones was August 1st, 1994. And it was my 30th birthday. And I got to RFK Stadium, and I remember thinking to myself, wow, I'm 30 years old today. And I think the first Stones album was around 1964. So their band is 30 years old. Like, how crazy is that to have lasted as long as I've been alive? You know, and now it's 2023, you know, and my first album was in 1993. So our band has been here for 30 years. You know, when is the first album? Yours?
When is mine? Our first album was 2000.
Yeah, so you're coming up on it too, you know, and like, that's insane. I remember at the time knowing that the possibility, and granted, we're nowhere near the size of the Stones, but we've been a band that lots of people come out to see for 30 years now. And that's something that at the time I thought was like wildly impossible. But here we've done it. I mean, that is some serious rarefied air. It was rarefied then, it's rarefied now. It's like, it's incredible that like the two of us have had these careers that just last for decades, which is what you dream about. You know, nobody dreams about, I want to be a rock star for a year and a half and then have people get bored with me. You know, like, it's not the way.
I expected that to be a short window. I mean, my expectation was, even when it was happening, like, well, I better soak this experience in because it's going to be gone. And it was gone in some fashion, but you know, the totality of making music I thought was going to be gone as a viable way to live my life before you knew it. And what a stroke of luck.
Yeah, you're still here. It helps that you're really good. You know,
you're really good too.
Ah, yeah, you big lug, yeah.
I mean, I'd like to think that the strange thing is that I'm probably the best I've ever been. I would argue that you're the best you've ever been by a wide margin, but it's front loaded. You have the most important thing you're going to say is when you're not the best you're ever going to be. It's when you're young and have all that strident energy of well, I guess it's hubris or something. I don't know what it is that makes your statement so big, so much bigger than your skill set is, which is yours, for example, was very big, but comparatively speaking is smaller than it is now. You know,
yeah, well, I mean,
your ability to do the things you do.
Rock and roll is based on that. I mean, rock and roll is all about like the sort of cocksure, fuck this, I can do this, and I can do it for the whole world. You know, and even if nobody hears it, that's still the same thing. You're making it for the whole world all at once, and you know, that's such a punky part of rock and roll, whether anybody hears it or not. You know, you're in your bedroom and you're writing a song and you want everyone to hear it. Like this idea that the things you have to say and the things you're feeling are important enough that everyone should hear it. And sometimes they do. You know, that's really cool. I mean, like, that's Mr. Jones, you know? It's like I was dreaming about being a rock star. and also thinking it wasn't going to probably be everything I thought it was. And they're both true. You know, you get to like see the world. It's like joining the army, you know, without the boot camp. And you get to be in charge, you know, in our cases. The metaphor doesn't work at all, but I can keep going. Yeah. I don't know, but man, there's still going to be thousands and thousands of people that come out to see us both every night this summer. You know, it's.
Yeah, so it gives me this, just this, you know, there's no sense of permanence if you're in this field. No matter what, even if you're even at your level, I imagine there's a sense of like, man, this really could just go away. It's like this. It won't. It's not gonna. But there's a sense that it could, because it's also precarious.
Well, yeah, you know,
we're here because other people have decided that what we thought was meaningful is meaningful to them.
It's something I really worried about, especially, you know, during the pandemic and after it. You know, was anybody, you know, at some point you expect this career to peter out because it shouldn't have lasted as long as it has, and here it is. But especially when we lost 2 years out of it, and we didn't play any gigs. It's the longest I'd gone without playing gigs since I was a teenager. And you know, you had to wonder, like, is anybody going to be there when we come back? And they were, but I was surprised and like weirdly touched in a way. I don't think I've been the kind of person who thought about that shit much. Like, I don't think I spent a lot of time, you know, I'm so happy everyone's here tonight. Not that I took it for granted, but I was, you know, I'm up on stage, I'm thinking about the music and the band, and that's what I'm thinking about. I get lost up there. But I found myself after the pandemic really thinking, wow, you know, I really do appreciate that people keep coming back, because I don't know why. It hit me in a way after the pandemic that had never hit me before, where I just felt really kind of choked up about it. Because, yeah, you're right. We are here because other people have decided it's okay for us to still be here. You know, we're here because we've decided to be here too, but we're here at the level we're at because a bunch of other people have all gotten together and decided that we should be here. You know, and that's, I don't know, it choked me up after the pandemic, and it never had before.
Yeah, it was interesting. You know, actually, your show was the first show I went to after the pandemic. It's the first real concert I went to, you know, post, once the world started up.
In Nashville?
Euphoria, it was euphoric, you know. The audience was unrestrained, and we were.
I remember that show because
it was a good feeling.
You know, we were really in a bubble on that tour. We were being really, really careful. And so nobody was backstage. And it was when we hit Nashville that it really hit me, shit. Because I remember standing on the stage, looking at you out there in the audience and waving, and you waving at me during when Sean or Matt was playing, and thinking, man, I've been kind of okay up till now with the bubble, but I would really like to see Chris. Like, that was the night it really hit me, like, because I remember waving from the stage and seeing you out there.
I have a great picture of us taking pictures of each other.
Yeah.
You from the stage and me from the crowd.
You were out there, and Felipe was out there. And I was really thinking, man.
It's good company to be
yeah.
out there with Felipe.
Felipe Molina did the art for Somewhere Under Wonderland. He painted those paintings. And he's a good friend of ours. He lives in Kentucky, and he had driven to Nashville for that. You guys were there, and Lauren Louise from Girl House, the band Girl House, was out there in the audience. Yeah, man, and that was the night I was like, in a way, like, being in a bubble was kind of cool, because I realized how much energy I've been putting out seeing friends every night before shows. And not doing that, I had so much more energy for the show. I felt like so much more rested and ready to go. There were a lot of good things about being sequestered like that, but it was when we hit Nashville that I really thought, okay, yeah, there are still a few places where I really wish we could see people, because I really want to go out there and say hi to Chris, or you know, like that it hit me that night. I remember that concert really well because of that. Yeah.
We've got all summer to make up for it.
Yeah.
I will say I'm looking forward. You must be too, but I'm looking forward to one day not framing things by the pandemic. You know, like hopefully enough time will have passed that won't be the. But I better not put that into the world, because who knows what the next thing might be that we'd have to.
Well, I thought we were kind of past it, and then we got down to New Zealand on this tour in the spring, and we played 2 shows, and Immer and I got COVID, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, I mean, it's still out. It still exists. Obviously, it still exists. Excuse me. It still exists, but
yeah,
I guess we'll live with it forever. I guess maybe.
somewhat, because I really thought I guess the thing is, it's over unless you have something that gets completely screwed by it. And when like you're in a band,
absolutely.
you know, it's like most people, it's just, you know, I guess it's, you know, you're sick, you stay home from work for a day or 2 or a week or whatever, you know, you get some time off, but in a band, you're fucked. Like I realized that, okay, it's just not over for us because we're fucked if it, yeah.
Did you have to cancel anything?
Yeah, we lost 2 gigs, and it would have been 3, but we were able to move 1 around. But that's only because they were so far apart, because of everything so far apart down there. That's plane flights between gigs. In America, that could have been 4 or 5 gigs. You know, it probably would have been 5 gigs in America. So that's rough.
Yeah, I'm so glad it wasn't more.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Now I'm thinking about New Orleans a lot, about getting to New Orleans and getting some crawfish. We got 3 days. We can
There's
get
good
some
coffee
crawfish
there too, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Every time I go there, like that's one thing I think you should put on my list is exploring coffee while I'm in New Orleans. You got a lot of friends in New Orleans.
Yeah, yeah. It'll be fun. That'll be fun. We should have like a big crawfish boil one day, one of the days off.
When did you live in New Orleans? Did you live there, or you were gonna live there?
No, I didn't live there, but I started going there a little bit before we made our first record. And I mean, I went to like the Jazz and Heritage Festival for like 10 or 11 straight years back then, and I made a lot of friends down there, and I really thought about moving down there. But instead, when I moved to LA, most of New Orleans moved out to LA and lived with me. I had like 3 or 4 friends from New Orleans living at the house in LA. And all the bands that would come out on tour from New Orleans would stay at my place. It was like the hotel for New Orleans bands. And so it was like a real home away from home for a long time. I almost moved there instead of New York when I left LA. But I ended up coming here. And then eventually all of those friends of mine moved back to New Orleans. So they're all back there now. So it's kind of cool when we go there, you get to see people.
That show's gonna be fun.
Yeah, that'll be really cool. I love that city. It'll kill you, but it's good for you. But it'll kill you. Yeah.
I did a great video there one time, and by great I mean like it was like a long shoot, so we got to be there for like a week working on one video, which is unusual. And
Wow.
it was directed by Joey Lauren Adams, who also had lots of friends there. So she was taking us all these spots that I'd never been to before, and it was my experience before then had been like, oh, I'm here through town on tour. I've got one night. I'll just go where my friends attend bar or whatever. That was a really fun time to be able to explore a city more deeply like that.
What video was that?
Belle of the Boulevard.
Oh, wow. That's Alter the Ending, too. Yeah. Isn't that on? Yeah, it is Alter the Ending.
Yeah.
How did you end up with Joey Lauren Adams directing the video?
Common friend
Oh.
of it wasn't a friend of mine. It was a friend of somebody I work with art director maybe that I was
Huh.
working with connected us, and she was great to work with.
That's really cool.
Yeah, she was like a pretty fastidious director and had a keen eye, and also like it was there's scenes where there's like lots of extras that just look like it's like the city, but they were people from the city. She just like went out for a week before then and found all the people she wanted, and
Oh, that's really cool.
basically talent scouted and talked them all in, like, hey, there's no money, would you like to do this, be fun. She was, through her own belief in the thing and her own massive charisma that I think she has,
Huh.
was able to create this great thing, this great moment.
It's kind of a good city for that kind of thing because there's a lot of colorful people running around New Orleans. It's got a lot of vibe. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that.
I've had some good nights and some hard mornings in the moments.
Yeah. Immer's birthday used to always fall during the Jazz and Heritage Festival, so he would always end up somewhere in a gutter, like just with money pinned to his chest, and just lying in a gutter, like just across from Verdi Mart or something at like 5 a.m. And I remember distinctly this one morning we had been out, our bar, all different places, and we went to Verdi Mart at like 4 something in the morning. We got a bunch of po' boys and we were sitting on the street corner just eating, and then Immer was kind of half passed out on the sidewalk, just sitting there relaxing. And there's a homeless guy asleep like a few feet away, and he kind of woke up and he sort of walked out in the middle of the street, turned around, saw Immer, reached into his pocket, took out $1, pinned it on Immer, walked over and went back to sleep. I was like, this is the greatest place on earth. It's just like this act of aggressive generosity from a guy who's, down on his luck. But it was a birthday in New Orleans, and you pin $1 on the guy. And that was that.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Crawfish are my go-to when I'm in New Orleans.
Yeah, me too.
That's what I like. What's your, are you going to cook at all on this tour?
I don't know. I don't think so. It's too hard to do it on tour.
Cook on tour.
Maybe when we're in New York for a few days.
You're going to go, you'll cook then maybe?
Yeah,
are you going to be a foodie on the tour? Do you go out to restaurants a lot?
I have not in recent years. I've been really, really monk-like, keeping my voice together. But we have a few days where there's a few places where we have some days off. And I want to like get out in those places, L.A. and New Orleans in particular. But I do have to be like I found myself. I know that I'm so much happier if I have my voice for a show than if I'm struggling, and it really helps if I'm like quiet between shows and I don't fuck around much, and I just feel it just feels good to be ready and play great and not be struggling. Especially as I get older, it's harder and harder to keep my voice together. But like I feel like I've been so good on tour the last few years. Like I've really been dedicated to showing up and crushing it at the gig, and like I've just been so happy with that. So
that's the order of the day. That is that is experience that you want to give to people, right?
I had my days going out, a lot of them. I still enjoy it sometimes, but I hate struggling. I hate struggling with my voice. It just drives me crazy.
It's not worth it. Like, I don't like to have to be on stage with any bit of doubt lingering. Just to be totally, I prefer to just be totally present and in the moment. And if that means I've got to be the I don't know, you said hermit, the hermit of the bunch, then so be it.
Yeah.
I often wonder what it'd be like to just play guitar in a band and be on tour.
Have fun.
Seems like a whole other experience in life.
Immer seems to be having nothing but fun. I have to say, Emmy has a good time all the time. He's
good at a good time, and he's good at that. He's a generous with his good time.
Yeah, man.
Him. I love that about him.
He's got that jazz down, man. He just really, he's got it all going. You know, like he moved to New York a few years ago, and he knows the chefs and the people running every restaurant in our neighborhood. It's incredible to me because he goes there by himself all the time. He sits down, he starts talking to everybody. He gets to know everybody. I don't know how he does it. Honestly, don't know. He knows everyone. Like,
is he in your neighborhood?
Yeah. He lives a few blocks away, and
he
knows everywhere. I know nobody, but he knows everyone. It's incredible. Like he just he takes me out. We go places and go to these restaurants, and they couldn't be any happier to see him. They just want to sit down and they want to cook for him and make him whatever. He has places he goes, he has his Saturday or Sunday place where he goes there at noon, has brunch, they drink wine, he's there till 11, 12 at night. He's there for 12 hours. And they can't wait to hang out with him all day. Guy's incredible. He knows everybody. He's just I aspire, it's too late, but I aspire to being like that, to being the guy who can go know everybody.
That's some serious brunch fortitude.
Yeah, man.
Make it through closing from brunch.
It's impressive stuff. Yeah, it's I wish.
Are you gonna do your podcast at all while you're out on the road?
I haven't done it since the pandemic. I keep meaning to get back to it, and then I go on tour and I forget, and I haven't done it in.
Yeah, I suppose that's a lot of talking for show day, though. I guess
I can't do it on tour. We used to try and bank enough of them ahead of time that we ran through the tour on them, but we haven't done that. I need to get back to it. I really love doing those, but
yeah, I loved when you were doing it.
Yeah. After this tour, back to the podcast.
I've got a podcast idea kind of germinating for something I can do with my brother, for Nick and I to do. I won't give it away, but he's such a smart guy. I'd love to have more people know that about him, to know about him.
What was that podcast we went to together?
Well, that was a live show for The Greatest Generation, which is my favorite podcast, which is a Star Trek. Okay, look, it's a podcast called This Says It All. Their tagline says it all. So it's called The Greatest Generation, a Star Trek podcast by a couple of guys that are a little bit embarrassed to have a Star Trek podcast. So I've been completely outed, Adam, as a massive Star Trek fan and a nerd in general, but it's been no secret to those who've known me for a long time. Anyway,
we're in this together.
We've literally been in this together because we've gone together to see them live.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of my favorite memories, and it's the only time I really got to hang out with your brother like that. And it was so fantastic. The funny thing is it's where I saw Azure. I had seen Azure Ray there just a little bit before that. Maria Taylor's band. They'd come through and, we'd gone to see
where was
them.
That, in Brooklyn at the Bell House?
The Bell House, yeah. And then, so now we're at this podcast together, me and you and your brother, and we couldn't find seats. So we were going to have to stand up the whole time. And I was kind of like, oh man, we're going to have to stand up the whole time. This is a drag. But then it was so fucking funny and so great. I enjoyed it so thoroughly. And yeah, it's incredibly geeky and something to be thoroughly embarrassed about, except it's also wonderful, and like, yeah, I just had the best time. It was.
Yeah, I love things like that where you've just got like two, just a number of smart people, not afraid not afraid to be smart in front of other people. These two guys, Ben and Adam, they're in the film industry anyway. They're creatives anyway, and they're comedians. But the thing that they're turning their focus on is so inherently nerdy, but they're smart enough to carry it. They're two brilliant guys. But anyway, it's a hard sell, I suppose. But I could say if you want to see us together out, it's not where you'll expect us to be. It'll be something like a podcast a live podcast for the greatest generation.
Yeah, I couldn't have had a better time that night. That was so funny. It was so great. They were doing a special evening on Star Trek 4. It was 4, right? Where the whales.
The one with the whales.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love that one. Star Trek movies are always best on the even years, on the even numbers.
Yeah, they're terrible on the off years. Yeah, even the new ones. All right, wait, we're people are clicking out of this like crazy.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, yeah,
before
enough
I
about
get in
that.
too deep. Let's talk about leather jackets or something. I don't know how to keep people interested in rock and roll.
We're both doing denim today. It's a big denim day for the two of us. Yeah.
Yeah. It's often a denim day for me.
Me too. Well, I mean, maybe we've been about an hour on here, right? Is that about right? I think we're good. Are we good?
Yeah, I guess we should. Well, look, bud, I guess we'll be out on the road together.
Something
I'm excited.
In the comments.
I can't wait.
There was something there, but I didn't see what he said. Oh,
I said ready to wrap it up.
Oh, ready to wrap it up. Okay. Yeah. We'll see you on the road. Should all come out and see us.
Do we have a cool sign off? I don't have one.
No.
Well, come to the Banshee season tour to see Dashboard Professional open for the Counting Crows and a long-awaited pairing. And for myself, I've been waiting for this. I hope your fans are excited, but I could not be more excited. Thanks for visiting with me a bit today. I'll see you next weekend.
Yeah, come see two friends hang out for a summer. It's a thing to do. I'll see you next weekend.
We could have called the tour that.
Yeah, it's long, but it would have worked.
Just two friends hang out for the summer. That's a pretty good tour name. It's too late? I guess it is.
Yeah, plus it also doesn't count all the rest of the guys.
Why?
Yeah, well, whatever.
I meant like collectively, the bands. Yeah, the bands are the two friends.
Guy bands. Yeah, okay. All right, I'll see you next week, pal.
Okay, see you then.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.